Jürgen, we've continued our good run, but that loss to Makita Zalvia stands out. What do you think?
Yes, 6 wins and 1 loss isn't bad, but the Machida game shows teams can handle our 4-1 once re-won. We might need to adjust, especially in tougher matches.
Calm down, Jürgen. It's only our second serious loss of the season. Let's stick with it for now. Our 4-2 first league win over Montedio in the Cup was good. We might now be able to keep some players on ice for our first Emperor's Cup game against Kashima from J1.
Definitely. We have the firepower, and that 2-goal lead means we should be able to throw the German sausage at the Antlers.
Got it. I'll keep that in mind as we head into our next Cup game. But before then, we've got the half-yearly review of the whole Red Bull football group. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 6 of Red Bull KloppBot here on Sean Does FM currently with Omiya Ardija. I hope you're doing well and come of day. We've got 2 cup games here, seeing as we're still so far clear on top of J2. First up we play the second leg of our J-League Cup round of 16 tie against Montedio Yamagata, another team from here in J2. And off the back of that, we get to take on some J1 opposition. As in our first game in the Emperor's Cup in the second round, we take on one of the stronger teams from there inside the top 5 currently in the Kashima Antlers. So if you're looking forward to those 2 games coming up in today's episode as well as the half-yearly review of the whole Red Bull football group done by the KloppBot, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up, all that good stuff. But we haven't actually suffered a defeat off the back of yesterday's episode, which if you missed, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner, where we took on both Tokyo Verdy and JF United Chiba. Hopefully the intro caught you guys up on what's happened since then. To be fair, had some quite big games off the back of those ones that we did show you. In the first one looked the biggest, the only team at that point who have beaten us so far this season in the J2 League. We thrashed them 4-0 there in Renault for Yamaguchi. Off the back of that, a 3-0 win over Fujita. The same result there in a J2 game over Montedio Yamagata before we then beat them 4-2 away in the first leg of this round of 16 cup clash that we are about to complete. So it does mean we take a 2-goal advantage there into the second leg thanks to a hat-trick again from Tomoya Azawa, our backup striker. Off the back of that, a 5-1 win over Zwagan Kanazawa, but then we did suffer only our second defeat of the season here in terms of the league at the Red Squirrels, and it was 1-0 to Makita Zalvia. Of course, this was a team that early in the season we beat 3-1 away from home. So this actually was a bit of a disappointing result. To be fair, for some reason, lots of our players actually were quite tired going to this game, so did have to rotate a little bit more than I was planning on. But a 1-0 loss there. Mitchell Duke, the Australian, he popped up with a goal on the 55-minute mark. Their XG actually was higher than ours as well. So in terms of the actual stats from this game, they probably did deserve the win, but it was a pretty even game. Just unfortunately, off day for us in terms of our attack, and they pick up a 1-0 win. So that was disappointing. One of the few games this season where we have not scored a goal. So we suffer our second defeat there to Makita Zalvia. That's a bit frustrating because they're actually the team who are these days quite clearly in second on the J2 table. So it did allow them to close the gap on us a little bit until they got a red card in their next game and lost that one. So it did mean that we made that ground back up there with a 3-1 win over the Cellar Dwellers in Azul Clara Namazu before coming back for these 2 cup games. In today's episodes, lots of wins, just that one loss off the back of yesterday does mean we're still on top of the J2. We're 17 points clear of Makita Zalvia, so thankfully that loss hasn't hurt us too much there in our title chase. Still got a better goal differential than they've got points on the table, and 4 further points back to Tokyo Verdy and JF United Chiba, who do head up those teams inside the playoff promotion spots. It's still looking very good here for J1 football next season with only 15 games left in the league. So it does mean I think we can now switch our attention to cup games for as long as we stay in the cups here at Omiya Ardija for the rest of the season. But before we even look at our opposition in that first game today, which is Montedio Yamagata, we have made our way to the end of the European season here in our first year of this save. So it does mean it's time for the KloppBot's Red Bull group review here. So of course he can send us somewhere if a club's really struggling, or he can just say stay at Omiya Ardija, which we're definitely hoping will be the case. These guys are still in J2, albeit we are looking pretty good to be in J1 next season. Maybe then he'll be a bit more open to letting us go over to a different continent and a different team. We're going to start off by looking at the seasons they've just finished. First up, we'll have a look at the team who really should be dominating their league in RB Salzburg. And despite the fact that they're actually doing a little bit averagely in real life, Pep Linders has won the title there in his first season in charge, albeit only by 4 points. Do think that margin was a bit more comfortable when we started the save here, but he's picked up that title over Sturm Graz. They also did pick up the domestic cup there in Austria. In terms of the Europa League, which of course was the competition that RB Leipzig also dropped into, it was won by Tottenham, so now the Red Bull clubs there do pick up any European silverware for this season. But going back to the semi-finals, and Tottenham actually knocked out Red Bull Salzburg. So Salzburg were the team that made their way furthest in Europe this season, so maybe you could argue they're actually the big headline club currently in the Red Bull pyramid here. But that's a very good season for those guys. They do domestic double and also make a Europa League semi. But of course, RB Leipzig, they dropped down to the Europa League off the back of being knocked out in the Champions League group stage. We can now go to Europe because all that stuff is how it should be in real life. But going back further, they did make their way to the corner. Salzburg, if you're wondering, got past PSV in that round through penalties, going back to the round of 16. And here you'll find Leipzig, who are right down the bottom. They got knocked out by Roma on penalties. So Leipzig, they got sent out of European football quite early this season, while RB Salzburg made their way all the way through to the semis there of the Europa League. Now we'll go check out the German club, who really are the flagship club here in the Red Bull pyramid. Marco Rose, to be fair, was looking quite under pressure when we first look at all the Red Bull clubs in the first episode of the save. They were all the way down in 9th, but since then, he's actually staged a bit of a recovery. They've made their way up to a pretty clear third there, in behind the big two in Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. So about what you'd expect there from Marco Rose in charge of RB Leipzig. Quick look as well at how they did in all the other competitions over there in Germany. They got knocked out in the cup over there in Germany, which of course is the DFB Pokal. And unlike Salzburg, they also didn't pick this one up. They got knocked out all the way back in the third round by Hamburg. So not tasty work there from RB Leipzig. Let's hope next season they do a bit better, but still not a terrible effort there from Marco Rose, especially considering what things were looking like there when we did start this save. They were all the way down in 9th. Also worth knowing that Bayer Leverkusen have snuck their way into the Conference League for next season after being down in the relegation zone back in January. So a few revivals there from both Leipzig and Bayer. But now we go over to North America, and we start off with the New York Red Bulls in the MLS, who it looks like should be pretty solidly locked in now for some knockout football this season. Over in the Eastern Conference, these guys are currently 5th. They only need to make the top 7 there to make sure they won't be in a wildcard game like they were last season. So the Red Bulls actually doing a bit better than we anticipated, considering season preview-wise, they were ranked 25th of all the teams there in the MLS. Having a look over at the Supporters' Shield, they're in 9th, so they're definitely doing a lot better than expected there. Are the New York Red Bulls over in the MLS? A quick look as well at what they're doing in any other competitions. They got knocked out in the third round of the US Open Cup by a team who are down, I believe, in the USL. So a bit disappointing there that they got knocked out that early in the US Open Cup. But to be fair, they're definitely doing a lot better than expected in the MLS. Next up, the last team apart from us in the Red Bull pyramid, and that is Bragantino in Brazil. And this is where things get a little bit interesting, because these guys, after being predicted to finish 12th, are all the way down in 17th. And if we ever look at it shortly over on the stages page, they're currently in a relegation spot. So this could make things quite interesting for this review we're about to do with the KloppBot, because they currently might be getting relegated down to Serie B, albeit there's a ton of stuff that goes on here in Brazil, and it looks like these guys actually still have a fair amount of football to play, considering they've only played 8 games compared to some teams who have already played 14. Maybe that's continental football catching up with them. So to be fair, they could make their way back up that table, but currently Bragantino are in a relegation spot, so that could make things interesting here for the KloppBot. Maybe he pulls the trigger and sends us to Brazil a little bit earlier than we were anticipating. A quick look as well at what these guys are doing in the other competitions, because of course they are there in the Copa Total Sudamericana, the second tier competition over there in South America. And to be fair, they're absolutely cakewalking that one. They didn't do too well in the state championship in Sao Paulo. We'll just have a quick look at how things did go there. We'll check if they made their way through the corners. Yes, they did. They got past Santos, as you'd expect, considering those guys are these days a Serie B team in real life. Going down, they got beaten by Corinthians by a goal in the semis. So got knocked out there as they were trying to make the final of that Sao Paulo State Championship, albeit one of their players was the top goal scorer. And going back out in the third round of the Brazilian Cup, I believe that is, knocked out there by Palmeiras. So to be fair, that is quite a good team that did knock them out in the cup over there. But that league position is a bit concerning. So maybe the KloppBot might get a bit concerned about that. Of course, we're looking quite rosy here at Omiya Ardija really these days. We'll try and see if we can have a deep cup run as well as making our way up to J1, but it's time to head over to ChatGPT and see if the KloppBot wants us to stay here in Japan, or maybe he wants us to go to Brazil and save Bragantino. So over the ChatGPT, you can see here we put in a couple of images so he could check out all the Red Bull clubs. He said here, we're looking quite nice, keep the focus on maintaining our performance. To be fair, he did seem to think first time around that we were managing all 5 clubs, which is a little bit difficult. Not too sure how he thought about that. He did think the New York Red Bulls were doing a pretty decent job. However, Bragantino, urgent action may be required here because relegation would be catastrophic. So yeah, that's definitely not ideal. Might be on our way here to Brazil, Austria. Continue as is Salzburg, doing a brilliant job and solid in the league there with RB Leipzig as well as Champions League qualification. He's quite happy with how Marco Rose is doing there over at RB Leipzig. So it did say immediate focus is Bragantino's potential relegation. I did let him know I can only manage 1 club, so should I stay where I am or should I go somewhere else? And the 2 options that he was thinking about were staying at Omiya Ardija or going to Red Bull Bragantino because of that Serie A table position. All the other clubs, I think he was just putting those up there for some reason. We made him choose, and in the end, he has said that we should stay at Omiya Ardija for the remainder of this season. So we're going to see our full first season here in charge of the Red Squirrels, which should see us get a promotion next to our name, albeit one caveat, we need to keep him updated on how Bragantino are doing, because obviously, if they get in serious danger of relegation later on this season, we might be called in for a rescue mission, which would be a little bit annoying, not having that promotion next to our name, but really, we've done all the hard work there. We should be fine. We might need to go over quickly to Brazil and see if we can rescue Bragantino. But currently, we're staying at Omiya Ardija. Thankfully, that's the case, because honestly, they might not be too bad there, Bragantino, with those games in hand. Let's hope that's the case anyway. So with that now done, we can focus on the remainder of today's episode. These 2 cup games, and first up, we take on Montedio Yamagata in the second leg of a round of 16 tie of the J-League Cup. We're 4-2 in front after the first leg, and these guys are down in 6th. You can see there, their captain is Ayumu Kawai. He is a 4-star current ability right back come left back, does look quite decent. At 25 years old, their vice captain is Tim Miyagi, who is a left winger come central attacking midfielder with that same current ability. Also quite young, does look like their squad building might be a bit similar to how we've been doing ours here at Omiya Ardija. And the key player is Takayuki Arakaki, and he is a right come left winger with the exact same current ability. So it does look like these guys are pretty solid in terms of their squad depth, at least in terms of the players that are there on their club info page, or around that 4-star current ability mark. But that 4-2 lead does mean we can just potentially rest here a couple of our better players and hopefully just keep them on ice a little bit until that second game of today's episode, because I'm quite keen on seeing how we stack up against the team from up in the J1. So it does mean a couple of players who, while not on heavy workloads, are a little bit injury prone. We've dropped them down to the bench, the likes there of Dimas and Yanino. So a little bit of change here to our team, but to be fair, most of it is our first choice 11. Let's hope these guys can get the job done, or at the very least hold on to our 2-goal advantage so we can make our way to the quarterfinals of the J-League Cup. And here are the team sheets for the second leg of this round of 16 clash here in the J-League Cup. Couple of changes for us. Wakabayashi comes in goal. He's our cup goalkeeper because that fills our automatic under-21 spot. Also, we've got Okamoto at right back. We've got Nuri coming in at centre back for Urakami. Also, Shimoda at box-to-box midfield and Yamada in that central attacking midfield. Just giving some key players their rest before we take on Kashima in the Emperor's Cup, and hopefully can hold on to our 2-goal advantage. And it doesn't take long here at all for the first highlight of this game. A goal kick here to the opposition. They try and flick that one, but thankfully Unholiday will disrupt that one, and we find Fabian Gonzalez. Actually need to do an update on him and some contracts here at Omiya Ardija towards the end of today's episode, but he sets up the Yamada, who puts that one away. It's a dream start for us here at the Omiya Stadium. That makes it 1-0 on the day and gives us a free goal buffer now on aggregates. Hopefully, this might mean some of our regular first team starters who are in this game might be able to take them off here at half time, save them up for that Emperor's Cup clash against Kashima, but a good start. We go 1-0 up. Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal. It's another goal kick here to the away team in Montedio, but thankfully Urakami controls that one quite nicely. Gets it out there to Okamoto and for Figueiredo today, saving him up for the cup game against the J1 team. Gonzalez there, not a good pass looking for Yamagata, and actually good chance here for Montedio on the counter-attack. They take on the shot there through Arakari, but thankfully that one goes well over the bar, and we're still 1-0 in front on the day, 3 goals up on aggregate. And in fact, not too long off the back of that previous chance to the opposition, we go down the other end here. A bit of a short free kick, Yamagata. He'll find Anhaloti. That makes it 2-0 at 6-2 overall. And surely this is wrapped up. We're going to make our way through to the final 8 of the J-League Cup. So maybe could have a sneaky chance here of going quite deep in at least one competition this season, as we're now 4 goals in front. And with 20 minutes to go here in the first half, it is now Montedio who are on the attack. Fujimoto cutting inside there before passing that one back there to Nishimura, who goes back across there to his left-sided centre-backs. Now they find the Miyagi from a tight angle, takes on the shot, and to be fair, that's a pretty good effort, beats the Wakabayashi in goal. Our young goalkeeper, to be fair, has quite a bit of potential. As I said, we're starting to win this competition because you at least need one under-21 player, putting him in goal. That just fills that nice and easily for us, but a bit disappointingly there, he gets beaten from a tight angle, but we're still at 2-1 in front on the day. In fact, right off the back of that goal, we do now have a free kick here for the away team. Thankfully, deal with that danger there, and Suzuki gets himself on some space there down the right-hand side, albeit I think the Gonzalez with a loose touch. So again here might be a chance for the away team that time to equalise, but thankfully good foot in there from Gonzalez tracking back, and now we try and make our way out from the back. We find Anhaloti, who does quite well there to keep that ball down our left-hand side. What can he do? Tries to square that one, but it's cut out there from the Montedio defence. And to be fair, they've actually got some numbers here on the counter-attack. Arakari starts to make his way forward for some reason, finds himself in a ton of space. Wakabayashi there does get forced into a save. It goes out for a throw, but all of a sudden the away team starting to get on the front foot, but thankfully still 2-1 up on the day and 6-3 on aggregates to still have a 3-goal buffer. We had a throw in there. We gave position away quite cheaply, but thankfully they did the same back, in a lovely pass there to Fabian Gonzalez. Fujimoto brings him down inside the box, so a chance here for him to add to the score sheet, and this really would put the game to bed with still 15 minutes left in the first half. Fabian Gonzalez, I was about to say, has been pretty good from the spot for us so far this season. That time a good save there from the goalkeeper. To be fair, we're probably going to take him off at halftime anyway, with that cup game coming up off the back of this. A bit of a tougher one against the team from J1, but he's now down to a 6.2, so probably going to take him off just because of that rating. But unfortunately, missed a chance there to properly put the nail in the coffin. We're still only 2-1 in front of the day, but still it's 3 goals up on aggregates, looking pretty safe here to make our way through to the quarterfinals of this J-League Cup. So with that in mind, we might actually make quite a few subs here at halftime. A little bit frustrating, that penalty, but still looking pretty good here to make our way through to the quarters. So with that in mind, the players who I'm looking at backing up in that game, we've got Urakami at centre-back, so Matiki can come on for him. Suzuki at left-back, so Minami will bring on in that position. Ohashi will bring on Dimas for him, albeit that does mean that Shimoda will have to go back to defensive midfield for the remainder of this half, so he'll get a little bit of game time. He'll also back up in that cup game, but just make sure none of our first teamers here are playing more than 45 minutes. Also Gonzalez now, to be fair, only option we have here is to bring Juninho on for him and Yamada out to right wing, Yamazaki for Anhaloti, and I forgot we've also got the striker, so maybe one less sub needed here. Which one do we not make? I think it might be actually. We leave Anhaloti out there and keep Juninho on the bench, and instead Osawa, he can come on for 10 wins. Those will be our 5 subs here going into the second half. Lots of rotation, but hopefully that might just help us out when we take on Kashima in the Emperor's Cup, because currently looking pretty good here with a 3-goal lead going in to the last 45 minutes. And it takes just over 5 minutes for the first highlight here of the second half, and we're on the attack here again, despite all those changes. The throw-in routine here, Shimoda. That's a lovely ball back there for Rin Yamazaki, who puts that one away top right corner, and that surely will steal this now. We have 4 goals in front on aggregate and 2 goals up on the day, really doing a number here on our opposition in this round of 16. So maybe we can hang with the J1 clubs. We'll find it out shortly when we play our first game in the Emperor's Cup. But Yamazaki makes it 7-3 on aggregate. Albeit not too long off the back of that first goal for us here in the second half. There was a throw in there for the opposition. Thankfully though, we do win that ball back and start to look to camp here inside of the half. Shimoda, poor pass from him there though. It gets cut out, but good tackle there from Okamoto. Thought we'd win that ball back, we don't. So a chance here for the blue team on the counter-attack. They float that one far post. Thankfully, Montedio will look to hit that one away. Just not very well. Miyagi gets that one on the volley and puts it past Wakabayashi. To be fair, not good work there from Ricky Yamatia. He's a player, but the KloppBot wants us to let his contract expire, so he probably won't be here next season. That's not going to help his case because that's some poor defensive work from him there. The opposition get a goal back, but we're still 3 goals in front on aggregate. And we just snuck away into the last 20 minutes of this game, and a free kick here for Montedio, which Yoshioka will take. He plays it short there to a teammate. Now Funabashi plays it out there for Fujimoto, and that's a really good strike there. In fact, Fujimoto, J not a G, Sean. But all of a sudden, they're coming back at us here. Montedio, that levels things up on the day, but to be fair, we are still 2 goals up overall. But maybe those subs, we might have made them a little bit early here in this game, but hopefully it doesn't backfire. With 20 minutes left, we're still 2 goals in front. And we just made our way into the last 10 minutes of this game. Got a free kick here to Montedio, who could really make things interesting here if they put that one away, but thankfully it comes off the woodwork just before that highlight started. Did start to time waste ever so slightly, but surely we'll be okay here still with a 2-goal lead. But to be fair, this highlight hasn't quite finished yet, which is a bit concerning because I thought that free kick must be it. Some good short passing here on the edge of the box, and Miyagi will put that one away for a hat-trick, and all of a sudden it's game on there. 4-3 in front here on the day, but we're still 1 goal in front thanks to our win in the away league by 4 goals to 2. So it does mean that still we're going through. If we can see one more, would actually be in a bit of trouble here, because I'm not too sure if the away goal rules is a thing. If it is, then we're in trouble, because 5 versus 4, not good for us. But now we're going to start to time waste even more frequently. Hopefully that might just shut off all the highlights here. But better say, our rotation players kind of let us down in this one off of the bench, but we start to make our way into 4 minutes of added time. Deep breaths, because thankfully we get away with that when it's a home defeat. And to be fair, that's now our second one in our last 3 games. But much like when we lost in the first round of this competition to a team from J3, back when we lost our goalkeeper for the second leg, that one doesn't hurt us too much. It made things a bit interesting late on, certainly a lot closer than we would have liked. To be fair, stats-wise, that's a game we actually should have been winning, albeit the penalty to Gonzalez might influence our XG. If we put that one away, we would have been home and hosed there in that one, but that is a loss on the day. Thankfully, though, got the job done by 2 goals in the first league, and we go through the quarterfinals of the J-League Cup, getting past Montedio by a single goal. So thankfully got the job done there in the off-camera game 4-2 in the first league, before that loss there in the second, but hopefully that's going to mean our first teamers are all ready to go here for a big clash now in the second round of the Emperor's Cup, where we take on the Kashima Antlers from J1. If you're wondering who we're going to get in the quarters, that's been drawn. It's not till September though, so it's a fair way away now, the remainder of the J-League Cup. But again, we're going to be taking on a J1 team, but this time it's the team who last season picked up the J2 League in Shimizu S-Pulse. That might be a team who's a bit more beatable than what we're about to take on here in this first game in the Emperor's Cup. The mere prediction, 18th, their league position is 15th. So really, that's a team that if we go up to J1, we should probably be looking to beat next season. So that could be quite interesting. Might have a sneaky chance there of making our way through to the final 4 of the J-League Cup. But before then, we've got the small matter of the second round of the Emperor's Cup. Hopefully can go on a dual cup run here alongside what's looking like a win in the J2 League. But it's going to be tough because we take on one of the better teams in Japan, the Kashima Antlers. These guys currently are in the AFC Champions League, albeit that would have started off early this season. Not too sure how they did in that competition. I've had a quick look through and it doesn't actually look like they've taken part in the competition yet at all. We'll just go forward and see if anything else is happening at some point in the season involving these guys. They'll be on the east side. Doesn't look like it. So I think later this year they do start to take part there in the Asian Champions League, but they have qualified for it to a pretty good club here, are the Kashima Antlers. And going back to the actual club screen page, they currently find themselves 5th in the J1, which is just outside of some continental football again for next season. So definitely one of the better teams here in Japan, just 4 points off top spot, which is, as you probably expect, the Yokohama F Marinos. So this will be a tough test for us here, our first real big one against the J1 team. In this save so far, the key player, that would be Kashinen, who is a right winger, come left winger, come striker. He actually looks quite a bit better than what we've been taking on in J2. He's got a cap for the national team as well as a goal, 5-star current ability and potential. He is injured though, so probably not going to be taking him on, but still, these are players with some actual yellow attributes, so this could be a bit dangerous for us here, this game that we're about to play. It is a cold, so we could actually be risked for this game, but you'd imagine against us, they might not, but their captain, Kento Misao, a centre-back come midfielder, also 5-star current ability and potential with 7 caps there for the national team. This is a whole different level from what we've been taking on so far in the J2, and their vice-captain, Naomishi Ueda, a centre-back, who also has quite a few caps there for the national team and does look quite good compared to our bunch of J2 average Joes. So we might be in trouble here for the first time this season. Let's see how we get on against a proper good team here from J1 in Japan. Can we upset them away from home and go on a little bit of an Emperor's Cup run? And here are the team sheets for this clash here in the Emperor's Cup. First up is the home team, the Kashima Antlers. They are also going with a 4-2-3-1, just not asymmetrical like ours, and their form as well is pretty darn good. We're back to our complete first choice 11 for this game. Higashi back in goal, and also our regular first teamers. They do get a run today. We are in the all-white. Let's hope that our form is like the all-whites was in that previous saves. Kashima at home are in the red with the black shorts. You might have actually seen before. Our rivals from J1, the Urawa Red Diamonds, are looking like they might get relegated. So we might not even get a derby going up to J1 next season. We'll see if they manage to stay in that division once we get to the end of this season. But currently, we're looking quite good for J1 football next season, albeit here, Kashima got on the attack early, but thankfully Higashi there with a stop from a tight angle. But early stages there, we've had no ball, and Kashima have torn us apart early. So this could be a good test here for the KloppBot's tactic. That's worked supremely well in J2. A good chance there for Higashi outside the box, but thankfully tries to curve that one top right corner. It goes high and wide, but lots of action early. We see the highlight from the restart, our first chance here to do something with the ball. We try and play our way up from the back, and to be fair, do a good job. Unholly makes his way inside the box towards the byline, squares it for Nguyen Tin Lin, who puts it away, and we take a 1-0 lead here away from home very early. Maybe this tactic is super OP, because that's a very quick goal for us. To be fair, good chance down the other end for the Antlers, but here Unholy makes his way forward quite easily. That passing was a little bit too simple. Finds Tenlin at the near post, who taps that one home, and we take a very early 1-0 lead here against the good J1 team. Off the back of that, we do have a throw-in, but deep inside of our own half. Damas starts to make his way forward, thankfully actually going to keep this ball for us, and we make our way into the final third. Let's see what he can do. Loose touch though, and now Kashima can get on the ball. They played it one infield to actually keep hold of it, and now Yago, he makes his way inside the box. We'll pull that one back there, looking for a teammate, but thankfully I think that was Tabira who cleared that one. Now Gaku plays it back there to Tova. It goes out there to Hulose down the right hand side, back to Tova, and now they try and make their way here through our defence to actually find now Suga in a bit of space down the left-hand side. He picks out their Komi, who will put that one top right corner. Not too sure how that pass made its way through Figueiredo, but it did, and they equalise almost immediately, and it's 1-1 after 4 minutes. This could be quite the entertaining game here in our first Emperor's Cup clash of the save. Still not sure how we even closed that pass down there from Suga looking for Komi, but unfortunately it found him. He puts that one away top right corner. 1-1 after 5 minutes. And we have to wait a little while for the next highlight of this game, up to a 25-minute mark here, and it is Kashima trying to make their way out from the back end. To be fair, they're passing this ball around quite nicely. Again, there Figueiredo cuts inside, I think there. Indeed he does. So Komi finds himself in space, and he picks out a Raki with a simple tap, and quite similar to our Tenlin goal. And just like that, we've gone from having an early 1-0 lead to being 2-1 down. Here's maybe the difference in quality between J2 and J1. Just there, Figueiredo going wandering a little bit when maybe he didn't need to. So Komi there with the pullback for Lucky, who can slot that one away in the bottom right corner. And we're behind with 15 minutes left in the first half. Albeit only a few minutes off the back of that, we are now down the right end here for a free kick. A little bit helter-skelter here inside the box. Thankfully, going to get that ball back there through Dimas. Now we get it back there to Tabira, who will pick out Urakami. Gonzalez, he's on the ball, but loose touch though, so Yago can get that one back, albeit good tracking back there from Gonzalez. We get us back here in position. Nice ball over the top there for Tenlin. That was from Janino, but unfortunately that gets ruled out because he was offside. Still 2-1 down. And it looks like they might do it for the first half of this game, to be fair, putting up a decent fight here against one of the better J1 teams, but unfortunately, off back at early goal to 10 Lin, Kashima did bounce back through Komi and Araki, so do take a 2-1 lead here into the second half. Our players are going okay, but Figueiredo at the back on a 6.2. We saw there a couple of times sort of cut off his man when he shouldn't have there in the first half. It proved costly. Okamoto, he can come on for the second half. We'll try and instill some belief in our guys, because it's definitely a game we're not expected to win, but hopefully might find a way to at least grab a goal back and make things interesting in the second half. Otherwise, we're going out of the Emperor's Cup early. And just coming to the hour mark in this game, we've got a couple of players here who have dropped down to red hearts. Ivan Dimas has picked up an orange injury, so we're definitely going to take him off here for Shimoda in box-to-box midfield. And also Anhaloti playing well, but down on red heart, Yamazaki can come on for him. Still at 2-1 behind with a half hour left. To highlight though, might be staying here with a corner off the back of that sub. No, it's not. Still 2-1 Kashima. And a few more players dropping down here to red heart, so I think it's time here to make our final sub now. Ahashi, he's down to red heart. Motegi can play defensive midfield, so I think that might be the option we go with late on in this game, albeit both our centre-backs actually not having good games out there on a 6.4, so just figuring out here what we can do. Maybe we bring on Yamada here for someone like Urakami. We'll pull back here Juninho for the box-to-box midfield role. Shimoda can go back to defensive midfield, which means Yamada can go into central attacking midfield for the last 20 minutes of this game. So a bit of a shuffle up here late on, but hopefully good free kick taker might prove important late on in this game as we go searching for an equaliser. And now we're about to make our way to the last 10 minutes of this game. Maybe let's just get Gonzalez not to ease off tackles and see if that will help us out. But shortly, I think, might have to go full out attack. I think now is the time we do it. Let's actually put these guys on attacking roles and also just go a bit more expressive, already playing on a higher tempo. Tell our goalkeeper, distribute quickly. We may as well up those roles as well to attack. Let's see if this works the same way that our tactic did in our last save. Also, let's change the mentality from positive to attacking as well and see if this might help us grab an equaliser. And right off the back of that, we have a throw in here inside the final third. Maybe this is what we need to do if we are trailing in games. We square that one nicely for Gonzalez, but unfortunately that shot gets blocked. Let's see if that was the highlight. Indeed it wasn't. Now we're definitely running out of time. We make our way into 5 minutes of added, and a highlight starts here, and it is Kashima trying to make their way out from the back. Zhong pumps this one deep. We win it in the air there through Okamoto, but unfortunately don't link up too well. So Kashima here are on the attack, but surely that'll get ruled off for offside there because Aleki, he looked a mile in front. But apparently not. That goal's going to stand. So that'll be all she wrote for us here in the Emperor's Cup. I was so confident he was offside there, but apparently someone was keeping him on. Let's see who it was. Honestly, I'm not too sure. He looked absolute mile offside there from the eye, but apparently it's a goal. So Kashima, they'll make it 3-1. That will be us done here in the Cup early this season. And it is Motegi there. Just a step too slow there. Otherwise, he definitely would have been offside in the end. It's a perfectly timed run, so fair play. That decision actually was correct. That makes it 3-1. Now, no doubt, we'll go down the other end and score Shimoda with a long-range effort. And he does beat Zhong in goal. But it's definitely going to be too little too late. Unfortunately, if Motegi just stepped up a little bit sooner, that goal would have been ruled out for offside. And this one might have actually counted as the equaliser in the end. Might be a consolation one, but to be fair, absolute banger that from Shimoda. Our backup box-to-box midfield. Off the back of that, going to go very attacking last minute or so of this game, just in case we get a corner and the goalie can score a heroic goal. It doesn't happen. We get knocked out there in our first game in the Emperor's Cup. To be fair, did put up a pretty good fight there though, and XG-wise, we were actually the better team in that game, so it wasn't as bad as it seemed there from the scoreline, but overall there, probably needed more shots on target with our ratio. Kashima there actually had quite a few shots on target compared to us. That probably was the difference maker, but unfortunately we go out early here in the Emperor's Cup this season off the back of a 3-2 loss to the Kashima Antlers. So unfortunately we go out there of the Emperor's Cup quite early on here in our first season at Omiya Ardija, so that's a bit of a bummer, especially because it does look like J2 pretty safely wrapped up for us here with that big lead. But thankfully, even though we also lost the first game in today's episode, the first league that I play off camera did mean we went through the quarterfinals there of the J-League Cup. Also worth noting, they were the defending champions of that cup there were Kashima, so definitely no embarrassment losing to those guys. but we did make it quite close, a little bit frustrating. Our first team couldn't quite get the job done and at least take that game into extra time. The manager's quite happy with that comeback. Before the game, he was saying, this is a quite easy draw for us. We should make this look like quite easy work. So to be fair, we did give him something to think about, which is quite nice, but maybe going to be a bit more of a realistic test for us when we go to the quarterfinals of that J-League Cup and take on a team doing a bit worse in J1. That could be something which is a bit more winnable. But to be fair, our fall all of a sudden in June doesn't look too great, so maybe going to need to try and fix that up before we come back for the next episode. But now, not a lot of interesting coming up for a wee while, but there is a transfer window which is opening up next month while we're on this too. Before we wrap things up for today's episode, we have renewed some contracts for some players in our squad because the KloppBot, that's what he wanted. Let's just go here and see which players have contracts that are expiring. You can see that Urakami will be signing a new contract. Also, it will be Suzuki, Nuki, and Abe, but some players we haven't offered or they've chosen not to extend their contracts here. At Omiya Ardija Yamazaki, the KloppBot said we don't need him with that low current ability and potential. The same applies there to Montedio. To be fair, he was pretty poor in that first game that we did play in today's episode. But more concerningly, Fabian Gonzalez doesn't want to extend his contract because our squad's too weak. Not too sure what's going on there considering we're top of J2. Maybe that will change later on this season once we do confirm ourselves as the champions of this division. But it does mean we might need to think about maybe replacing Fabian Gonzalez going in to our first season in J1 next year, provided that we're still here, don't get shipped off to Bragantino, and also that we don't bottle things massively, especially off the back of 3 losses in our last 4 games, which surely with that big gap on top of the table will be fine, but it does just make things a bit interesting, and what we come back for in tomorrow's episode will depend on how much we probably get up to in the transfer window, which does open up next month. But if you enjoyed today's episode, a bit of cup football, which to be fair, didn't go too well for us, but thankfully are still through the quarters of the J-League Cup, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Until tomorrow, when we'll come back for transfer window activity, or if there is a game we come back for, maybe Uita, because all the rest of these teams aren't inside the top 10 apart from Saga and Tosu, and in fact they are struggling massively somehow. So there's a lot of average games coming up where surely we can re-find our form. We might even secure the title in that block there with the big gap that we do have. So we're going to come back with transfer activity for a game where maybe we can lift the J2 nice and early. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.